Zombieland is over, but Barry's finally back. But there's no need to worry, right? Until Crisis heard about it. We'll get into it. This is the Flash After Show, Season 6, Episode 2. Let's get into it.
I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
There it is.
What's up?
There it is. How are you guys doing? Glad to have you guys with us. This is the Flash After Show. We are talking Season 6, Episode 8, titled The Last Temptation of Barry Allen Pt.2.
Yes.
And it's finally here. Crisis is upon us.
Oh my God.
But first, we have so much to talk about. Mm-hmm. So much family to talk about. So much bad stuff. So much Zombieland to talk about.
So much.
There's so much to talk about. But before that, let's tell the audience who we are.
Yep.
First off, the only person, my ride or die right here, Shiksha Mahtani. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Thanks, guys. We're going to talk about this. This is the end of the season before Crisis.
Yes.
Mid-season finale-ish.
Mid-season finale for the Flash specific, definitely.
Yeah.
And obviously, I am your host, Jeff. But more obviously, there are two people that are missing. Zach Silverman, Drew Jones.
I know.
We miss them both. They are both at home with their families. And just enjoy your time with your loved ones. And that's all we can say. We miss you guys, and we hope to see you guys soon. And also, Zach's in the chat, right?
Yeah,
Zach's
he was in the chat.
Hey.
What's up, Zach?
What's up? Hey, Zach's going to be holding down the chat. Same with Shiksha. So we're always going to be commenting with you guys and continue to talk with us. But like I said, there's so much to talk about. Mm-hmm. We got Camilla and Cecile. They're going on their not side mission, but escape. Yeah. They're kind of escaping from all the zombies that I've been calling, which are Russo's minion, his team, his what does he call it? I don't know. The
Blood Brothers.
The Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call throughout the show. I will call them the zombies because they reminded me of Zombieland. But yeah, so there was so much with them avoiding all the zombies. Mm-hmm. We have Iris and Cisco kind of taking over the mantle of Team Flash and trying to hold down that. We see Barry going through all his things, kind of working for blood work, kind of not working for blood work. So we see that dynamic. We have Killer Frost dealing with her internal problems, hopefully finding a resolution, and then Nashwell's being Nashwell's. So, like I said, there's so much to talk about. But what were your overall thoughts on this whole episode?
Mixed feelings, honestly. I loved getting to finally see Ramsey as an actual villain. I think we've been leading up to that, but we haven't really seen it in action. So today we did. So that was good, but I don't know. I think the whole way that they're handling the upcoming crisis and all of it, we'll talk about it a little bit more. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it.
See, you're in the middle.
I am in the middle.
100% did not like this episode.
Oh, okay.
There was only one redeeming factor for me, and it was the family aspect at the end of the episode.
That was nice.
That was the best part of this episode for me.
Finally, yeah.
The rest had decent moments, but it was riddled with potholes. And throughout this episode specifically, I'm gonna probably say some things I'm upset about, and it might come off, but that's because I'm so passionate about the Flash. I love the Flash. We've talked about this. This is why we're on this panel, and we want to see great things happen, and I feel like there wasn't great things happening in this. We'll get into it.
Yes,
because there was plot holes at every point, in my opinion. But at the starting point, we see Camilla and Cecile kind of dealing with the zombies taking over. You see Russo's Blood Brothers are kind of taking over the city. They're kind of just adding to the army.
Yeah, I loved seeing this, honestly, just because, you know, when they said that Cecile was feeling all the fear of everybody, I hadn't thought of it, but the minute they said it, I was like, oh my God, yeah, of course she is, you know? So I think that if they hadn't shown Cecile feeling all the fear, I would have criticized that, saying, why didn't we see that? So I'm glad that they did show that, even if it was for just a little bit. And I know that we've had a problem with showing too many characters in this show, in this season, but I think that was kind of necessary for that reason.
See, I'm the opposite. I didn't find it necessary. the only way I could find this necessary is if Cecile gained a new power. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Or like she's able to use her powers in new ways. Because
to help them.
Yeah,
or
to help
something?
them, because like we already know that Cecile can feel people's emotions. We already know that Russo feeds on fear. So putting those two together, we kind of assume that she feels people's fear. I didn't really need to see like them run around and hide through desks and them kind of fight. It kind of seems like what we've been saying is just like they have so many characters, so many great characters. Don't get me wrong, because I love Camilla and Cecile, and I want to see them both thrive in appropriate lanes or appropriate ways, not lanes. But like it just seemed like this was forced on us, and I didn't really like that.
You know what? I hear that. I agree with you, because they should have shown. They called her the zombie detector, but then they didn't really use that. They just showed her freaking out and feeling it, and then trying to escape. But you're right. They should have. But if they had shown that, they wouldn't have had time to show anything else, really. You know, so that's where they get stuck, because they have so many different things going on that they don't have time to show everything.
Exactly. Do you think Cecile's gonna like grow from this, or was the only purpose just to like show that Cecile can feel the fear?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna push her more, because she just changed her job title, so she's dealing with that. I don't think they're gonna add on to her, because they have so many other characters, which I can see as a flaw, just because they're not giving that character the amount of time that she could have technically. Definitely. Right? So I don't think so.
Yeah, so like we see them go through the whole where are they? That's the real question. Are they in Iris? They're in Iris's like building, right? Work building?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think
so. Wherever they are, they're going down the corridor, they're going down the hallways, they're avoiding that. It just seemed like there was so many people, or so many like things we could have seen.
Yeah.
To push the story forward that wasn't seen, that we just wasted time in that. Did someone say something in the chat? Yeah,
so we have Logan Knight saying that I think showing the other characters was kind of needed so we could see how they were handling the whole zombies thing. I get that. Zach is saying, she didn't do too well detecting the zombies, and it was pointless. What would she have done if they got to the lab? They should have just had them sit and wait it out.
I agree with Zach. I mean, to be 100% honest, I thought they were just gonna like kind of contact Barry or something, and then maybe they get kidnapped. I thought there was more to it. I was kind of let down, because they all have ways to contact the team. It didn't even seem like they tried to.
Well, they had. Yeah, no, they didn't. They didn't try to contact the team. They just put the force field around. Yeah,
but I mean, I'm talking about like Camilla and Cecile. They didn't try really to contact the team. They're like, oh no, we're just gonna run to Starb Labs. It was never really established that they know the comms are down. They know all these things. They just technically they just know the power's off.
You're right.
So I don't know. That was one of the plot holes for me. I just didn't I just didn't get it. That is just me. I want to hear from you guys in the chat, in the comments. Let me know, did you guys think Camilla and Cecile, that storyline was needed? Is that going to be pushed forward? How do you guys feel about that? But yeah, leave that in the chat.
And speaking of the chat, I'm here reading it. I just wanted to take a second to thank you guys for sitting here and watching us and talking to us in the live chat. You guys are the ones that make us the ESPN of TV talk here at AfterBuzz TV. So thank you. Please make sure to hit that like button while you're sitting there chatting with us, and hit the subscribe button. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, make sure to hit that 5 stars for us. You know you wanna, because you love us as much as we love you. So yes, just want to say thank you and keep chatting with us.
Definitely. And they will definitely be chatting a lot about what our next, not topic is, but discussion. Because we're going to be talking about, I put just Iris, Barry, and Cisco. Because it was so much stuff going on.
Too much.
Like, the whole episode was about them, pretty much. And we see, like, from the start, it's kind of Iris and Cisco kind of leading Team Flash from home base, at least.
Yes.
Obviously, there's part of Team Flash a little bit everywhere, but they're leading it from the home base, kind of figuring out how to save Barry and how to save the world at the same time, or at least Central City from Bloodwork. Do you think that, say, on a hypothetical, because Barry is supposed to die, do you think that could be a working relationship? As in, like, do you think that they would work together well?
Who?
Iris and Cisco.
Iris and Cisco?
Because they had, to preface that, they had problems in there, and you see the Cisco like questions himself like, dang, I was supposed to be the leader. I was supposed to work as a team, and we didn't do that. That's why we didn't succeed.
You know, I do think that they would work well together, honestly. I was just surprised because we finally saw these two working together. We kind of predicted that they would a couple episodes, beginning of this season. But we thought that they would be working together to help figure out how to save Barry from the crisis. And instead they're working together to save Barry from Dark Flash. So, you know? Because I got what I wanted, but not really, right? Because they're still not trying to figure out how to save Barry from the crisis, which they talked about, and we should talk about that.
We're definitely going to talk about
Yeah, but... So I like them working together. I think that if Barry were to die, they would make a good team.
Yeah.
They're not too dominating, either one of them, but they're good leaders. So I think together they could work.
Yeah. So I hope so. My only thing is that Iris is so strong, and so is Cisco, and they're both like, I'm gonna do what needs to be done, and what Iris thinks needs to be done, she's gonna go with her heart. She's gonna go with her smarts, her journalistic point of view. Cisco is going to go with his smarts and his knowledge and his analytics. So it would be interesting to see. Hopefully we don't have to see that because we want Barry to make it throughout Crisis. But it will be an interesting dynamic, and we only hope for the best. But like you said, there was so much more. There was Ramsey talking to Iris through Barry.
Oh my goodness!
But to get there, we saw that Barry obviously chose blood work. Yeah. And he kind of took over Barry's body, have him sending out the virus to everybody, so everybody is part of the Blood Brothers now. And he uses Barry to call Iris. What did you think when you saw that at first?
Oh my goodness. So, it was good. What was it that he said to him? He said you gave up or something.
So
I wrote it down.
He pretty much says that. Oh, you want?
I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So Ramsey through Barry said, "Why would Barry come back to you? You accepted his death in Crisis as inevitable." So that for me, I've been saying that all along. How is it that she's just accepted it? Cisco too. I mean, in the very beginning when this first started in this season, they started to fight back and say, "No, there's got to be something," and then they just gave up, and it was all about them accepting and grieving and. That really bothered me. It's been bothering me.
And I know you're not the only one that people have talked about in the comments, and then we've talked about it here on the panel. It's happening like episode after episode, and there's just more frustration about it. And even after he said that, they kind of had a little like tit for tat, Iris and Cisco, like, no, we need to be focused on this. No, we need to be focused on that. But nothing was really gained from that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like they started thinking, how can we help Barry say? Like, do you think that Iris's approach will change now or during Crisis because of
what Ramsey said?
Because of what Ramsey said?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe because it kind of reminds her not to give up.
Yeah.
But I think it depends. But she had to go through that whole moment the other episode where she had to write the article, which was kind of a moment of acceptance and grieving for her. So I wonder how deep emotionally she is in that. And if she can come back. I don't know. But I think that Cisco's completely given up. They showed that he's completely given up. And that really upset me. That he said, what's the point? We might even if it could hurt Barry, we're going to lose him anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so frustrating. I feel like just hitting myself like my book against my head. Like,
exactly.
Like, Cisco, why did you lose hope? I mean, like, he said it was inevitable. He said it was inevitable that Iris was gonna die. He said it was inevitable that like he would like Cisco, you died, and then they fixed it. Like, come on. It's so frustrating that these people are just like accepting it.
Yeah, and if Barry's fate really is to die, that's fine. But to see his team not fight for him and not look for other possibilities, that's what's so frustrating. And I wonder if Barry actually thought that about Iris because Ramsey's in his deepest thoughts. So I wonder if some part of him was like, why is she not still fighting for me, even though I've told her not to?
No, see, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, let us know, guys.
That makes so much sense because we see that Barry was trying to reach out to them through blood work, even though he kind of submitted himself to the virus and everything, but he was still fighting because somehow he still has a soul in there.
Somehow.
But but that's another plot hole for me.
Okay, explain.
How is blood work that blind?
What do you mean?
Because Barry's sending these signals to...
Oh, that he didn't catch on that he was sending these signals?
That he didn't catch on that he's sending signals, that he didn't catch on that there is still a body in there that is like somewhat controlling what the words are being said. Oh. I feel like as a person, if you're 100% controlling them, you control what they say, how they say it, when they say it. You don't just like, that was an interesting choice of words, but I still control you. It didn't make sense to me. So like, what did you think about that?
Okay, so that's true, but it sounded like Barry was sending out his message in code. So Ramsey just thought that he was saying what he needed to say. So I don't think, maybe he just didn't catch on. But he was also so busy dealing with all these other zombies that's one little detail he just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can we please talk about the fact that the Flash, Barry, gave in to Ramsey?
Yeah, he was down. I mean, he was, but like, he was down. He was like, yeah, dude, let's roll because I think I can control you. Or I think I can like fight you from within.
I'm going to be honest, I'm really glad that they did that. Because last episode, I was really upset because Barry is this huge hero. How could he be taken over like that? That was one thing we talked about last week. It just didn't make any sense. So now to know that he purposely gave in so that he could try and control it from within, that sounds more like Barry and more like the hero we know and love. So, okay, I'll take it, you know?
You're nice to me.
You don't accept it?
No, I mean, I don't accept it because it doesn't make sense. I feel like that is a unnecessary risk. Yes, it feels it's better that he controlled it and he chose that to purposely save him.
Yeah.
But I think it was way too big of a risk. He even said that I tried my hardest and I almost killed you to Iris. So, like, if you know you are losing your soul, and technically you don't know how much you can control yourself, you are just hoping and guessing that you can. I think it was an unnecessary risk.
But I think that that's just Barry's character, to completely sacrifice himself for the better good. So maybe that was his way of trying to make a quick decision. Okay, if I do this, maybe I can save everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like...
No.
You trying to save the world. There's one thing like you risking your life only to save the world, but you're risking your life to hurt other people.
Yeah.
Or that hurt other people and then saving it. Yeah, and it wasn't. It was Allegra.
It was Allegra.
And like he said, I'm happy you saved the day. Like this is what I thought from day one. I'm like, dog, like that you're thinking like 20 years later and trying to say you planned it. It's a way too big of a risk. And I didn't like it. I just thought it was a blind spot, but it is what it is. Like, another thing with that, why do you think they didn't use a cure on Ramsey?
Whoa.
Because, and I say that because, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did they not say that Allegra's powers can be used as a cure?
Yes, but they also said that that it was too permanent in him. Right?
Okay, so they did say that.
Yeah, they did say that. It was just like a one-line thing.
Okay, because that was a miss on me. I'm like, dog, why is Barry going to fight him because he's the main superhero? Yeah. Like, nah. If it worked one time, it should work again. Now that was a plot hole for me, and I
so accept it.
Yeah,
it's not a plot hole anymore.
No, so it's not a plot hole. But what's confusing to me is that Barry went in there and tried and brought out Russo's mom. Did you think she was real? What did you think about the whole situation?
I was confused for a second, but then they kind of explained it, where Barry got in his head, and I guess Barry did kind of save the day because by bringing back his mom, they were able to capture him.
Yeah.
So in that way, that he kind of saved the day.
But Also, how does Barry have the power to bring back somebody like that? Because
no, I think it's just in his in his head. Yeah,
I know, but like, how does Barry have that power? Because we only know that Russo has that power because he's literally controlling Barry's mind. It's not like Barry was ever controlling Bloodwork's mind.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I mean, they kind of explained it, but like, does he really have that power?
I think they were trying to pass it off as like side effects of what had just happened.
Yeah.
That he can now kind of control. But I hear what you're saying, and I don't think they knew how else to capture the guy. So, yeah. Did you like his monster?
I thought it was cool. We actually got to see blood work in full effect, not just the veins, not just the elongated man version. Yeah. We got to see him in all his monster looking.
Man version.
I mean, like, we got elongated man version. We got just the drip face version, whatever like the veins on his face were.
Yeah.
This I call the Venom version because he looked like a Venom version.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, but like I was actually happy to see that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it was the one episode thing because he is gone now. But
okay, so that's one thing that's getting me, and I think that's why I'm kind of stuck in the middle as to whether or not I like this episode, because we finally got to see Ramsey doing all of this.
Yeah.
But in the past, we've had the villains where it's a build-up, but we see more, right? So they're trying to fight off this villain, and you get to see more and more and more. But in this season, it's been like one scene here, maybe a scene there. They try to build it up that way. Yep. And for me, it didn't really work because I wasn't as invested in the character. And I feel like in the past, it would zoom and reverse flash and you name it. Every single other villain. Yeah. And I think because a lot of people in the chat are saying how he was boring. Bloodwork was boring. Yeah. And I think that's why. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. And my question to you is, what was the purpose of having him as a villain for these 8 episodes?
Oh, well, I guess nothing, because they could have just had little villains and to fight off and then building up to the crisis. I think I would have liked that better if they had little guys, just one episode villains like they used to have, and then kind of as a team try and figure out how to save Barry from the crisis.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I think I would have liked that better.
I don't see any reason that he's there. He didn't make them try to save Barry. He didn't make Barry try to save himself. He didn't lend into the crisis. He was just there until the crisis started.
Yeah.
I didn't really... I mean, not only was he boring, so I definitely agree with the people in the chat. Yeah. But I didn't see a purpose. And that's what I was hoping for. We I don't want to say nothing negative to the actor because he killed it and,
he was
everything.
Amazing. Oh
but the writing, I felt like they should have lended if we're getting 2 villains, lend the first one to the major crisis. Yeah. It just didn't seem like a natural transition. No. It was like, well, we had to fight this villain. Next up is this one. That it's almost literally what Barry said. He said, well, we've got done with this one. Time to fight the next crisis. It's like, dog, was he just baddie of the day or something? Like,
yeah, I wasn't feeling it either. The whole Ramsey angle, it just didn't do it for me. He was supposed to be this big evil guy, and I mean, he was evil, but he wasn't. Yeah. You know, a lot of people in the chat are saying that they liked Reverse Flash. Fun Size 40 saying Reverse Flash needs to be back to the main plot villain again. I agree. Jassy Jones is saying Godspeed wasn't that good of a villain. Zoom is better than Godspeed. Okay, but still.
Zoom is better than Godspeed?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we had Godspeed for all of like 3 seconds. And then last season we saw him for a little bit. Yeah. This season we saw replicas of him, not even like the real one. It was like it was fake versions of him. So like they've honestly made a joke of him so far, and I hate to say it like that because that comes off so rude. But like, he's a big name villain. I feel like they should use him in a different way, and that's why I say they kind of made a joke out of the seriousness of what his villain could be.
What, Bloodwork?
No, of Godspeed.
Oh, because I think he's coming back.
I hope so, because as of right now, they kind of made a joke about it at the beginning of the season, like, oh, that's just our third one. I'm like, dog, he's a really big villain, like. What you can't do it. What are you doing? And also, his suit is super dope. Like, low key, I like that suit more than I like any of the Flash's suits, more than any of the suits I've seen on the show. I think it just maybe it might be the white that just pops with the gold and everything. Yeah. But it just looks dope. So I really hope I think we're gonna get
more of Godspeed.
Yes, I hope so. But there was so much to talk about, and we can jump in. I want to jump into like Killer Frost and Nash and everything else. But before we get off of this segment, I had another plot hole.
Oh,
and I only
gosh.
say this because I watch all the shows.
Yeah.
I watched like every show y'all know that's on the CW. I don't need to list them all.
Yeah.
But
You guys know.
Yes. Y'all know because you're watching Crisis.
Yeah.
How in the world do they not connect? Because
What do you
we
mean?
talked about this multiple times. Earth 2, they haven't talked about it at all yet.
I know. Why
And
haven't they?
And then you know what? Another thing they just dropped. Where did they send Russo? Do you remember?
Oh, Argus.
With who?
Lila.
You're caught up on Arrow. What is Lila doing right now?
Oh my God.
Lila. So for the people that are
Oh
not
my
watching,
God.
for the people that are not watching Arrow, Lila is pretty much working for the Monitor, and she is going around trying to make sure that Oliver manipulating Team Arrow and making
And we have not seen this week's episode yet because we were
Yeah.
watching Flash, just so you guys know.
Yes, we haven't seen that episode, but pretty much she's working with the Monitor. She is not working at Argus. She is not the Lila everybody knows. There's way more to
my
her. It was just
God.
another plot hole that I just got frustrated about. And these shows, they literally shoot in the same area.
Yeah.
They are run by the same group of people. Why is there so many plot holes about Crisis? Like, Lila should not be talked about right now. Earth 2 should be talked about right now.
Yeah.
There are so many plot
They
holes.
definitely should be talking about Earth 2 because everybody disappeared, and that's literally what they're supposedly expecting in the Crisis next week.
Like, their approach to Crisis just pisses me off.
Okay.
Like, they were sitting there, I love the moment, but they were sitting there like, look, we got about 15 seconds to Crisis. Y'all time to take a shot? Like, what's good? Like, they're just sitting there waiting for it. Like, what happens to, what is Crisis? What are we going to do with Crisis? Should we, like, plan something? Like,
Well,
should
Brandy Joy is saying, no, Russo's at Star Labs and Ralph was sent to Argus. No, but they sent Russo when he was in Chester's thing.
They sent Russo? Yeah, no, they sent Russo.
They sent him to Argus and they
literally said
Lila. Yeah.
we called Lila. He's in Argus. So that is literally said don't drop name
my
Lila
goodness.
if she's not there in other shows. But like I was saying, there's so many things they should talk about.
And maybe they
Like-
will when they all meet up together.
Maybe they
for
will, but like how do
Crisis.
you I just don't understand how do you if you know every Earth is gonna do they know that every Earth is up for grabs pretty much? Or do they just think it's theirs? Because that
What,
would-
on Flash? I
On
think
Flash.
Arrow knows, but Flash, I'm not sure.
Let us know in the comments if they know,
Yeah.
because if they don't, that's fine. But if they do, why is Kid Flash not there? Why are they not talking about
Yeah, you're right.
anybody on Earth 2? Why are they not getting ready to fight?
Yeah,
It just
they're
it
not
just-
getting ready to fight
It
at
just
all.
seems like they're getting ready to hand over Barry.
Yes,
Honestly, like
exactly.
why? Like
Oh my
it just
God.
doesn't make sense to me. If
Yeah.
Barry has seen all these infinite ways of dying,
Yeah.
he knows that all these people need to be here. What are you waiting for?
He also knows what will and will not work. So he should be getting the team ready and together. I agree with that because that's been one of my biggest issues with the season is the lack of the teamwork.
Yeah.
Lack of coming together to fight. It's just been I'll fight here, you fight there, you do this, you do that. And that for me is not what Team Flash is about.
Not at all. But
Hopefully they fix that after the Crisis.
yeah,
Or during.
I hope so. But one member of Team Flash that's also going through it, but going through it by herself. Kind
We
of.
have
Oh.
Jazzy Jones and Romeo Lopez saying that they don't think Flash knows about Earth 2. Only Arrow does. But how do
But-
they not know?
I don't.
Why
I don't,
doesn't Arrow? Why
I
doesn't
don't-
Oliver call Barry and be like,
That's
"Hey,
that's the thing that bothers me about all these shows. They try to
Yeah.
say that they're so connected, they're on the same Earth, but they don't do the most simple things of communication.
yeah,
That just frustrates me. And I don't believe that he doesn't know about multiple Earths because he saw the future. So the future, you see everybody fighting,
Oh, yeah.
all these Supermans,
know.
all these you see all these
That's a
different
good
people.
point.
How do you not realize that this is bigger than just Earth 1?
you're right."
I-
Barry should
I'm not
know.
here for it. I don't want
Yeah.
any excuses. There's communication. Point blank period.
I'm done.
Honestly, that's where I'm at. But like I said, I could rant on that, and we could talk about all the different frustration points for so long because I love these shows, and that's where the frustration lies.
It's because we love the shows that we want it to be different.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
But like I said, we can go through this for so long.
Yeah.
But let's get on to the person that's dealing with something internally, and hopefully is coming to a conclusion because it does. For me, it's not really hitting. I want to talk about Killer Frost, and do you?
Kate's back.
Yeah, so Kate's back for Crisis.
Yeah.
Obviously not for long because we've seen photos of Killer Frost and she's going to be needed. Every superhero is needed. How do you feel about this dynamic and what they've come to the conclusion? She said that they need you for this moment, but like...
Okay, so I agree with what I think Zach was saying last week, was that we've seen them go through this struggle and now they can just change back and forth easily. So this whole struggle every single time they change is unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's like, just change. Okay, we need Kate now. Okay, we need Killer Frost now. Okay, just go back and forth. And I think maybe that's what they're building up to. So maybe after Crisis, they will just change. I don't know.
It was frustrating though because towards like the beginning of the season, maybe even the first season, I remember we were raving about how they were giving Caitlyn a storyline that wasn't about a boy, and like in the sense that how she always has a love interest that gets betrayed, or it was actually a good solid storyline about her, and we're gonna explore her and explore Killer Frost. Now it's like they've been doing the same old circle back and forth, and we need them to grow.
Yeah, okay, but I love Killer Frost. She's such a badass. They even said it on the episode today, that she's such a badass. And seeing her vulnerable side is kind of cool. And I do like that they're showing us that, and that she's not just this strong woman all the time, that she has her own issues. But I think that at this point we get it, and we need to move on from it. We've seen the whole Kate and...
They have to grow from it.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe they will. Maybe they're just taking a little bit longer than we'd like.
Yeah. Honestly, that spiel when like Caitlyn went back to being Caitlyn and said, "Hey, just count to 3 and continue going." She could have did that in her head. She could have done that in her head.
I kind of like that. So I didn't like when Killer Frost was like, "Katie, I can't do this. You need to come." That part I didn't like. When she said count to 3, I actually liked that because it showed that they're helping each other. Lift each other up.
I like it as well. I think it would have been better and showed more growth if Killer Frost stayed Killer Frost the whole time during that conversation and just had Caitlyn in her head. Like at the end of the episode where she was kind of talking to herself and everything. Yeah. She could have just like froze, heard that, took a breath, and then continued doing that. And then like, okay, we're moving on past this storyline. Right now it's still like I have to go back to being Caitlyn just to have just to like grow a little bit.
I hear that. So in that moment, Katie should have been like, okay, 3, 2, and just like, done it in that moment.
Or just like, hey, this is Caitlyn. Obviously, she'll know. Literally, just say the same spiel. Don't change bodies. Like, just make it quick. Just breathe. You got this. Count to 1, 2, 3, and go. And then she's like, thanks, Katie. Boom.
Yeah, maybe that's where they're headed.
That's what I hope. It just seems like they're running around the same track over and over again. And we love Killer Frost, we love Caitlyn, and we love both the characters, but we want to see growth from them, and we want to see more storylines, not the same old fighting.
Shy Gabby is saying, I think Killer Frost is just too scared. That's why she didn't want to change back. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true.
She is too scared, but like eventually you got to grow.
Yeah,
eventually we got to grow.
Yeah.
Last thing, we saw Nash Wells. We see him dealing with some zombies. He kind of gets rid of them for a little bit, and then he goes and finally bows down to the monitor. In a sense, he says, "Take a knee," and then he goes in and
he becomes pariah.
I'm guessing he becomes a pariah because he's taken away into whatever hole he was going to. How did you feel about that? I'm gonna just say that's another plot hole for me.
Okay, please explain. Go ahead.
Not plot hole. That's the wrong word. I apologize. It's a frustration for me because I feel like they DC Universe. If you guys watch all the shows, you know that this was an in trailer teaser for Batwoman. I'm pretty sure it was an in trailer episode for Arrow tonight. So why are we all watching the same thing? And technically, the end of Batgirl, we saw this same clip. It just seemed like it was a waste of time. Like I already knew when we saw Nash Wells dealing with the zombies, I was like, well, this is a waste of time. Because we know that he's not going to die. We know that he's going to go in this because we already saw it.
But you know because you've seen the other show. But not everybody has.
So
right?
so we're expecting the Flash fans to not watch the other shows?
Well, yeah. I mean, not everybody watches all of the shows. You maybe pick one or two.
You can't. I'm not letting that slide because they are doing a crisis with every show. So they are expecting fans to watch every show.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. I just realistically speaking, you pick one or two shows. You don't watch all 5 of them unless you're a mega fan. Then you're watching all 5 of them. So I think that was their way.
And mega fans like us, we are frustrated because the timeline doesn't match up.
For me, it wasn't because it wasn't frustrating only because for me it was connecting the shows.
Gotcha.
So it was the next step towards connecting all the shows. Everybody's now having the same thing happen in their show, and we're gonna jump into the crisis. So I see what you're saying, but I liked it because. You never know. Yeah. There are people who just don't watch all the shows. Yeah. And so at least they're caught up, and he's becoming pariah, which means everybody needs to know that he's pariah, so everybody needs to see him.
Yeah, but if everybody doesn't watch the other shows, they're not even going to know who he is.
Yeah, that's true.
But at the end of the day, it goes back and forth. Hopefully.
See, some people don't watch all the shows.
Well, obviously they don't watch all the shows because if they did, then they would know that that's a frustration point. Either way, there's so much there's so much we can talk about.
Yeah.
Let's move past it. We got what we got. Hopefully, Crisis lives up to our expectations, but that is for a whole nother week to talk about. Right now, we're going to jump into the news because you got some news for us, don't you?
I do indeed.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Woo! All right, guys. So we were all sad when Gypsy died a few episodes ago. But the actress who plays Gypsy, Jessica Camacho, opened up about the fate of her character in an interview with comicbook.com. She said, people loved Cynthia and Cisco. People loved Gypsy, which I'm so grateful for. But does anything ever end in the multiverse? She said she would be 150% willing to return to The Flash, even as an alternate version of her character. She went on to say that's what is so awesome about this genre. Anything is possible, right? Look, who's to say there are not other versions of us, our doppelgangers? The universe is infinite. I believe in possibility, and I love to see that mirrored in our stories, in our art, in our sci-fi, in our comic books, in our characters. So yeah, that would be super interesting. Like Gypsy with a kick, Gypsy 2.0. I think, again, anything is possible in the multiverse. Which would be so cool if Gypsy came back.
Very true. Very true. I think it would, but I think it would diminish the validity of Camilla.
Yeah.
Sorry. Camilla. Because we already kind of mourned her loss. And now we are moving on to Camilla and the fact that we want her to kind of step up to that mantle.
But I love Gypsy and Cisco, and I know what you mean. But whatever, I still like Gypsy. Gypsy with a kick or 2.0. I would love it. I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And last but not least, we have Gorilla Grodd is returning.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Gorilla Grodd makes an appearance at least once a season. So this was bound to happen. The title for episode 13 is Grodd Friended Me. And this is after the crisis, guys. This is in February. So Grodd Friended Me. The title of the episode is funny for 2 reasons. The first is that the actress who played Jessie Quick, Violet Bean, is in a show now called God Friended Me. So Grodd.
Noise.
And the executive producer of that show, God Friended Me, is Greg Berlanti, who is also a chief driving force of the Arrowverse. So, yeah, I'm excited to see Grodd again in February. What do you think? Will you be excited to see Grodd?
I will. I mean, every time he comes, it's always a new adventure. He always steps it up in new ways. First time it was just him fighting. Last time it was him with a whole squad. He was fighting King Shark. there's always.
I know it's fun to see.
It's always fun. So I'm ready to be back to the baddies of the week and not just one bad guy, kind of boring.
I'm really hoping that with Grodd coming back and all this, and I think we're gonna see Sue after the crisis, that they go back to that light, funny, vibe of the show that we've kind of been missing recently. So I'm kind of hoping they go back to their old ways with the show after the crisis is all over.
I hope so too.
Yeah,
but speaking of crisis, it's that time. It is predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So let's just keep it easy. What is your predictions for crisis?
So Barry's going to die, but he will come back somehow. But in the while that Barry is dead, we're going to have Kid Flash come in and help save the day with all these other villains. And so he's just going to make a guest appearance. Because the creator said that he is going to come back. We just haven't seen him yet. So I don't know when it's going to be.
Yeah, he talked about that at San Diego Comic-Con about how he is coming back and he's going to be helping the Flash fight one of its most popular villains and something like that.
Grodd?
We will see. So that would be cool. But so that's your prediction. I 100% agree on the fact that Barry is leaving. I think he is going to be dying in our episode next week, which we will be having at the same exact time.
Which is part 3 of the crisis.
Part 3 of the crisis. Yeah. So I think he is inevitably going to die in that episode. And I think Kid Flash will come back and be one of the driving like powerhouses on how they get Barry back. I think that is going to be. I honestly think it's a plot hole that he's not back yet. Because they know of the crisis.
Yeah, but how is he not back?
But that's another frustration.
Okay, because we're in predictions, I can ask. Oliver is supposed to die.
Yes.
Barry is supposed to die.
That's it. As far as I know.
They're both gonna die? I mean...
They might because they don't know about each other supposed to be dying because they don't talk anymore, I guess. It is what it is. So...
I mean, Oliver is on this earth now, so he could technically... call Barry.
Look, they don't have any type of communication except during these 5 episodes of Crisis.
But we do have 5 episodes coming now.
So we have 5 episodes coming. We have the first 3 starting on Sunday with Supergirl, I believe. And then Batwoman on Monday and The Flash on Tuesday. I might have Supergirl and Batwoman mixed up, but either way, it's Monday through Tuesday, and then we are coming back in January to finish the last 2 episodes off. So I just want to let you know, be ready. We will be here next Tuesday, and I believe Zach will be back with us.
Yes, he will. And we have Jassy Jones saying Oliver will die, and I think Barry will die and come back, and Wally will be in the back half. Okay. Terrence Matthews says Earth 90, Barry will die in the crisis. Interesting.
So we will see, but that is our predictions, that is it for today. I just want to say thank you guys for watching as always. And before we dip out, where can they find you?
You can find me on all social media platforms at I am Bollygirl. That's Bolly girl. I'm on 6 after shows. I post about all of them in my Insta stories as well as all kinds of Bollywood news. So check it out.
Yes, she is your 411 for everything Bollywood, and that is why I hit her up all day, every day, for that and The Flash.
Yes.
No, but hey, thank you guys for watching. Like I said, you guys can follow me at Jeff Will Jr. on all your social media platforms, and that will do us for today. We will see you guys next week, so have a great one.
Bye, Team Flash.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.